Okay, and we're live. So, greetings everyone. Welcome to my channel, Salad Queen Boy. Today, I am so excited to be speaking to Comix Division about mental health and what it's like to be a content creator, especially when it comes to the early days, like pretty much I am right now. But let's hear it from someone who's been there, done that, eh? How you doing, man? How's it going?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. All the better for having you on here. Right. So before we get to any questions, just tell the audience about your channel and plug.
Well, I'm ComixDivision. You can find me on Twitter at ComixDivision, as well as Minds, and obviously my YouTube channel, which is also called ComixDivision. If you just Google it, spelled comics with an X, you can find it pretty easily.
Yes. Thing about some of our channels, like Salad Queen Boy with BOY at the end, always have to explain that every time that you mention it. Right. So must have been so much better. So bear with me a second. My computer's just completely frozen on me. But before that, you've just recently gone to Vegas. What was that like?
Oh, man. It was fantastic. It's pretty funny because I was never like a big fan of Vegas because it's nothing but spectacle. But it was amazing being able to see the entire F&T crew, with the exception of Az, because he's in the UK, in person, which was pretty amazing. And then meeting all the people that came out that watched the show. It was very humbling, man. It was absolutely amazing.
It's got to be so weird and just actually a lot more easier than just streaming from loads of different places.
Yeah, I would say the only thing that kind of sucked about it is that area where we were recording in, or I should say broadcasting it, was really freaking hot. And it was funny because I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear pants today. I wore jeans, and I was like, oh, this is a mistake. Everyone's like wearing shorts, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. But it was pretty cool. John Bartolo was very kind enough to let us use his place, and it worked out perfectly.
Cool. So getting on with the questions then. So how long have you been a content creator?
I would say it's almost 4 years at this point. I keep forgetting if I started in August or September, but my anniversary, I believe, is coming up next month.
Okay, cool. When you started your channel, did you have any previous experience in YouTube or social media or anything like that?
Not really. It was completely, playing it by ear.
Cool. So what exactly then motivated you to start up a YouTube channel?
What was going on in comics, what we're seeing that has, gone throughout all of entertainment. I started seeing in comics, and I was like, I saw your boy Zach, also known as Diversity in Comics at the time, Captain Cummings, Eglantine from I Love Comics. I was watching those guys, and I was like, I got to say something too, because I just can't be silent about the stuff that's going on. And I wanted to make fun of these very terrible SJW comic books that are coming out of Marvel.
Yeah.
So that's kind of who inspired me was those guys, and that's what got me going.
Cool. If you don't mind, I know that you've got like how much is it? It's like 7,500 subscribers now, is it?
Yeah, 7,000. Let me check. I'm almost to 8 actually. Yeah, I'm 800 away from hitting 8,000.
Congratulations. So for anyone who's literally just thinking of starting YouTube, and anyone who's struggling a little bit right now, how long did it actually take you to get monetized, if you don't mind me asking? How long did you have to grind?
I would say it took me about 2 years, mainly because of the constant rule changes. It's like I actually reached the point of monetization the first time, and that's when they changed the rules that you had to have 1,000 subscribers and so much watch time, and so that was very frustrating. So it did take me a bit. The main thing with YouTube, specifically when it comes to feeding the algorithm, is consistency, which I'm terrible at, is key. And you got to stick with it. You got to put stuff out on a pretty consistent cadence. If not, the algorithm is gonna obliterate you.
well, yeah. I'm finding that so much right now. Okay, so bear with me. Before that point, how much time did you actually give to YouTube, and what did you sacrifice to get to that point, mentally, socially, personally?
I sacrificed a lot of sleep at the beginning, and I still do on occasion. But when I was putting out content, I at the time I was putting out like 3 videos a week, and it was the wife would go to bed, and I would start recording, and typically it would be like 1 a.m. when I got done. So there was a lot of very, very exhausted days doing this, and that's the main thing is if you're married or if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, the best thing to do, I think, is to make a deal with them of some kind. That way you're not doing this at ridiculous hours of the night and sacrificing sleep, because it definitely gets to you after a bit.
Yeah, like my wife, she literally sometimes, because especially when it gets to the editing part with basically the rough cuts, which is the absolute, it's the thing that's going to kill you because it takes so long. And my wife literally takes my tablet out the hand and almost throws it across the room just to make me stop sometimes. So with that being said, have you ever felt that, I know you get tired and sleep is affected and stuff, have you ever felt that you're so overwhelmed by it that it's just a negative influence on your well-being?
It can be. I mean, it gets frustrating because there was a point where, like my channel kind of stalled out. And it was very frustrating because it's like the growth wasn't there. It's like I have a lot more growth now, thanks to F&T probably, but it's probably where the majority of my subs come from is F&T. But I still get some, from content, and the big secret to it is there's 2 ways of approaching content: evergreen content, and then what's kind of trending. What's trending is going to get you probably immediate people coming in, because it's a trending topic, and but the evergreen stuff is what's going to benefit you in the long run. So like, doing like movie reviews, TV reviews, talking about something that is, evergreen, that's why it's called evergreen, right? Right. That's the stuff that's going to help you in the long term. The short term is talking about the topic of the day. What's going on? Obviously, like right now, Afghanistan's big, and if you talk about that, I mean, it's trending. Same thing with like the Cowboy Bebop stuff. There's certain things that you can do around trying to hit all that stuff. Like you could talk about Cowboy Bebop as a show, or the anime, the anime, and then talk about some of the more topical stuff, like what's going on with the actress that plays Faye Valentine.
Okay, cool. So, all right then, as obviously you've had really bad, well, there have obviously in everyone's point of doing YouTube, anything really, you do start to feel overwhelmed. So what have you done to overcome that? You got any tricks?
Sometimes you just gotta either take a break, and I know that kind of hurts the channel at times, or you can switch things up a bit. I was doing like gaming streams for a bit and complaining about YouTube. But you're still kind of putting content out and having people show up. But at the same time, it's you got to keep it fun, right? Because recording a video is a pain, editing a video is a pain, creating a thumbnail is a pain. I mean, there's all this stuff that you have to kind of figure out to get people's attention, and that obviously that first thing, and that's the thing I suck at the most, is thumbnails. That's something I need to work on, because that's what people are going to see, and is ultimately going to basically influence their decision to click on your video.
Yeah. Do you use Canva?
What's that?
Do you use Canva for your thumbnails?
I use Photoshop.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I do everything by hand. It's probably I should do more research into thumbnails and just see what other YouTubers are doing. But at the same time, you want to have it be your own thing, and you don't want to just copy somebody else's.
No, the only issue I have with that is that, okay, a lot of people might not have Photoshop, so if you are starting out for the very first time, Canva is actually really, really, really good, because okay, you can do your own art, you can still Photoshop and whatever you want, but it just gives you templates galore. So at least you can put stuff together that looks reasonably professional, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so now obviously you've quote unquote made it.
I wouldn't say I've made it. That is a gross overestimation, I would say. I would say I'm doing okay.
Okay, so now that you got to the point where you're comfortable, I think it's fair to say, is it?
Yeah.
Between starting and this point, how many times have you felt like quitting, if ever?
Honestly, only once. And that was that was probably 2019. And that's where, you know, I just wasn't getting the views as much as I would like. And part of it too, it's like the way I do my channel, I get that the whole Comix Division thing, the way I do the icon and the voice and the whatnot, it's not everybody's cup of tea, right? So I'm sure people really like, you know, talking or watching a person. So I kind of flip-flop back and forth between the two, depending on the topic. I like doing the character bit because I feel I have a lot more fun with it, because I could be, you know, silly and sarcastic, you know, basically being me, but a little bit more freer, because it's different when you're recording and you see yourself. And sometimes I feel like I take myself way too seriously when I'm just doing a video where people see me.
Yeah.
Live streaming is a little bit different because you have a group of people. And the other thing too, I think it's having a good network of people as well. I mean, Gary and I, we've been streaming together since like I think like 2018, early 2018. We've been talking and doing YouTube together for quite some time. So it's once you start kind of getting that support system, I definitely think it helps out. It's because you guys can kind of encourage each other to, keep putting out content and not letting yourself get too frustrated.
I guess also with FNT as well, it really helps to be in a group situation where you got loads of other people to play off, as opposed to just thinking, oh my God, I've got to literally do everything here to entertain people. I can actually get other people to do some of the work.
Yeah, it's really weird because Gary is fantastic with streaming by himself.
Yeah.
That's something I think I need more practice at, because there's times where it's like I just don't know what to say. So yeah, it's interesting. I always like streaming with other people because you have that kind of back and forth and that banter.
Yeah. Also with the videos as well, it's like, I mean, I don't know whether it's your experience. I've heard it from a couple of other really experienced YouTubers, but it's like a broken record sometimes, where you're literally saying the same sentence about 20 times because you just cannot get it out.
Yeah, there's that. And it's kind of awkward talking into a microphone by yourself, right? It's just, I mean, there's people in your chat you can interact with, but you're just like, you're interacting with yourself at this point, or the article you're covering, or whatever topic. And it's sometimes a bit awkward. It's a lot more fun, I think, streaming with somebody else on. Yeah,
because you can actually have a normal conversation like, I guess this. So, okay then. So being a content creator, every one of us gets this, and I've got it from time to time doing a mental health channel. For God's sake, people have actually been negative towards me, done the whole, oh my God, why'd you say that? I feel so sorry for you because you're such a bad person for saying that. You know, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, especially with FNT and like, especially like Jeremy must get it absolutely loads talking about Star Wars and film and that. Now, obviously, it's not nice to have negative comments come through your streams, through your videos, and all that. So, how do you deal with all that negativity?
That's easy. I keep a very healthy level of detachment. Well, and that's the thing. You can't be thin-skinned in this game, right? You have to you have to be able to accept criticism. Some of it is warranted. Some of it is not. And I like to say that nobody is above criticism, including myself.
Right.
You just have to accept that you're going to say something dumb, and that's just the reality. Or you know that there's going to be people out there that are going to have, or they're not going to like your take, right? And there's plenty of people out there that I think have worse takes on stuff than I do. But yeah, it's just a healthy level of detachment that you have to have. You have to understand that people are going to hate you. They're going to call you bad things. God forbid you post an opinion on Twitter. Holy crap. Yeah. I mean, you will get it. When I posted about how I fell asleep watching the Eternals trailer, and of course you had the MCU stands hopping into my feed, just criticizing me for saying that. Get some sleep, bro. And it's just like, you obviously are missing the point that I'm just saying it's boring. Yeah. So it happens, and there's times where I want to be a little trolly with these people, and I do. And there's times like, okay, these people are being annoying. I'm just going to start ignoring them now. But that's the big thing, is that it's that healthy level of detachment. Understand that not everything you say is going to be gold. It's like there's plenty of times where it's funny. My favorite is I'm trying to remember which live stream was. I guess it was my Larry Elder one, where I literally had like 3 people unsub from my channel because of that live stream. It's going to happen. People are just not going to like your take. You can't take it personal.
Yeah. I mean, like a couple of years ago now, it's got to be that long. For about 9 months, I worked in a doctor's surgery. So there's this crew that come in. There's a show on one of our channels called GPs, well, Doctors Behind Closed Doors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm part of the reception team. And literally, I followed a lot on Twitter, and for stuff that you wouldn't even think that would get a bad comment, just something like, oh my God, I'm so tired, or I just tripped over something, or I can't wait to go home to have some steak, or I don't know, something that you wouldn't even think about. And the absolute hate and the taking of the piss, it's just fluent.
Yeah. What's funny, you could have the most benign take, like, I like pancakes. What do you have against waffles? Yeah, it's like, come on.
God forbid.
So, I mean, there's people out there, they're looking for conflict, about anything, and you're going to find it. And another thing too, is that you have to be honest with yourself. And this is something I'm honest with my audience. I will tell them my opinion on something. They might not like it. And you just have to understand that people are going to unsub. They're going to chastise you in the comments. And it's just a thing.
Yeah. People are fickle, but that's okay. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
So all this stuff about like dealing with and detaching yourself and all that, is that something that you had to teach yourself over time, or is it just something that you knew going into it?
It's something I guess it's a skill developed over the years, and it's something that I knew going into it. When you put yourself out in the public space like this, that you're going to get criticism, and you kind of have to prepare for that. And you have to develop that mindset of, I'm not going to let people's negativity or not liking what I say drag me down. I'm not going to take it personal. I'm not going to get mad at them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where, I always respond with kindness typically. And sometimes you'll be surprised, because a lot of people, when they don't think of watching. Sometimes it's really weird watching the video. They don't think of you as being a person.
No.
And so they'll say the most vile thing to you, and then you reply back with X, Y, Z. So a really good example of this is that somebody was really hating on this video where I was making fun of the new Witchblade series very hard. And guy was calling me a terrible person and all this stuff. And I wrote back to him. I was like, what did you like about the comic? And then that, rather than responding with more vitriol, if you respond to them with kindness or something, it's going to take them, they're going to take a step back. And it's going to disarm them a little bit, because you didn't respond being an asshole. And then you can actually have a decent conversation sometimes. We may not agree. We can still part the conversation not agreeing with each other.
Oh, yeah.
But I find that when you respond to them with a question, it disarms them a bit.
Yeah, rabbit in headlights type of thing. Cool. Right. So next question I actually got here is, if you could tell your past self when you first started in the early days, what would it be?
Don't name your channel Comix Division. And the reason why is because you don't want to put yourself like in a very kind of like narrow spot, because like I said, I start off talking about comics, but that's not what I talk about now.
No.
Right. I will talk about it on occasion, but it's not the majority of what my content is anymore. So I would come up with something a little bit more generic. Nerdrotic is great because that is a very broad spectrum of things you can talk about. Yeah, I mean, it's geeks and gamers, again, it's a very broad thing. So I would, like, if you just did something like something Star Wars, then forever you're going to be talking about Star Wars, whether it's relevant or not, right. Unless you go and change your channel name. I built a brand around Comix Division, so I can't rename it. But it was funny when I was talking about other things. I get people coming in, why don't you talk about comics? And it's like, because I want to talk about this.
Yeah, it's your channel. Do what you want. Well, you got one upon me. I've got a mental health channel called Salad Cream Boy. How does that work? My last name's Mayo, so it's kind of a trick on that. It's a nickname I had a few years ago. It's actually my first email address, and it just stuck. It's a nice little change from people saying Nigel Mayonnaise or Nigel Mansell or stuff like that, and it's a little bit of more witty comment on my name. So
I was wondering where you got that. It was like, that's such a weird name.
Yeah, literally, I had nothing. I had no knowledge about computers when like Facebook and everything first started, and I needed an email address to get onto it. So my friend of mine had a computer, made my email address, didn't even know about the address he made for me. And yeah, Salad Cream Boy, you. But you know what? I made it my own, and I'm making some good out of it. So hey, but what I'm actually doing with my other channel, which I mentioned to you, I think just before the stream, it's a bunny channel, and it's actually called Ghost the Bunny, which is the name of my pet. So at least that has something to do with what I'm talking about.
Right.
Okay. So also, have you got any words of motivation for anyone who's just starting or who's struggling a little bit at the moment on the channels?
Yeah. Stick with it. We need more people out there talking about whatever. I mean, obviously about culture, politics, whatever you want to talk about. Just know that at the very beginning, you'll get maybe 1, 2, 10 watches on your video. And it is so thrilling the first time you see, oh my God, somebody watched my video. And some of my early ones like, oh my God, I got like 10 views on this video. And then you're like, okay. I mean, it gets to a point where it's like you have to continue building up numbers. And like I said, it's hitting on those things that are trending that helps. But like I said, it depends on what you want to talk about. You can find an audience. The big thing is it's finding a way of getting people in, and that's through creating engaging thumbnails, and then there's social media, which is a hellscape. But yeah, I find Twitter to be kind of a necessary evil, because there's people that will find my stuff better that way, because, well, YouTube isn't helping. I mean, the whole notification thing sucks. Yeah. Nobody gets my notifications anymore. And it's finding ways of being able to do that. And the good thing is, because of like Streamlabs and Ko-Fi, there's ways for you to get monetized without approval from YouTube. Yeah. So there's ways where you can make it worth your while up till you get monetized through YouTube. But the main thing is put the content out, have a cadence. Sometimes it's easier if you're able to go bank stuff up, and that's more kind of like your evergreen content, and you can release it at once or twice a week or whatever. And then you can hit the more topical stuff. Yeah.
When you say bank, you mean build it up, so like you're doing it in bulk and then you're doing it bit by bit.
Yeah. So let's say, and I'm terrible at this. It really depends on how quickly you can record stuff. But if I was able to go and record like 3 videos in one day, I could have it to where I could schedule it to release periodically throughout the week.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to do something every night. Because I don't know about you, but whenever I do a video, it typically takes me anywhere between 3 to 4 hours to record and edit and upload, create the thumbnail, get everything situated.
Yeah, I mean, without even doing the scripting and everything else, literally, I think the other week it took me about an hour and 20 minutes to do something that ended up being a 10-minute video. It takes that long. So yeah, bulking, it's an absolute must. It really is. And get yourself a memory card. You'll need it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's everything for today, unless there's anything you want to add.
Not in particular.
Cool. If you want to plug your channel again, and I'll let you go.
Sure. You can find me on the YouTubes at Comix Division. I guess there's no ad. Just search for Comix Division. You'll find me. And Twitter at Comix Division.
I've also put your channel in the link in this get words out in this description if anyone wants to check that out.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Thanks for doing this. And
yeah, sure, no problem.
I'll see you on FNT.
All right. I'll see you.
See you later. Okay. Right then. So that was Comix Division. Again, link is in the description. Bear with me. I think I just cut out slightly there. Right. So if you let's see. So if you haven't seen before joining the stream, I am a small channel and I do have something like 70 something subscribers. So the thing is, I'm doing this stream to offer something to other like-minded YouTube creators where either you're just starting and maybe you've been doing it for a little while like I am, not really seeing the results you want, and it can draw a little bit on your mental health and mental well-being because it is something that you're working so hard to achieve, and it's just not getting there. But grind away, really, just keep at it. So let me just tell you a couple of things. So one of the reasons I began a YouTube channel is really to fill in a hole, as it were. As I got more and more into it, I became it really becomes something I love, and I can't believe I didn't start it earlier. Now, you get words out. With live streams, it is a little bit harder for me to talk, and it's a lot easier for me to do recorded content that I can edit, as you can kind of tell from this stream here. But there's a lot of YouTube creators that will only live stream, and there's a lot of content creators that will only just do edited videos. There's absolutely no pressure for you to do one or both. It's literally what you feel comfortable with. And yes, as I stated before, as we talked about earlier with Comix Division, yeah, they are going to be the naysayers going along the way, and it's just going to be part of it. One of the ways that I deal with that is the fact that, okay, one, I can't see them, two, I don't know them, and three, I'm doing something to help people here, and they're not. You can criticize and criticize all day long, and okay, sometimes it might actually develop into a genuine, nice conversation, and you can still disagree, and that's fine. But there's still going to be a lot of people who are going to rip into you, and it's not okay because, yeah, it's still going to affect your mental health to a point. But the more you can distance yourself from that, the more you can treat it as, I am literally looking into the camera right now, and the only thing that I am talking to that can see me back is that camera and nothing else. And as soon as you can start to see people on the other side of that camera who's watching you, that's when it's going to start getting difficult. So you got to try and train yourself to not see that. And yeah, so as I'm going on with this channel, I'm creating some good, and it's the way I think about it is I'm helping other people with my content, and it will be out there for a very long time, if not forever, because once it's out on the internet, unless you actually delete it yourself, it's going to be out there, or people could screen record it. I don't know. The point is, I don't know, it's a kind of immortality, and the word legacy kind of gets thrown about in your head sometimes, and that actually starts to give you meaning, and it gives you something to strive for as well. Let me tell you, if I was literally like for the past year or so, just I don't know, when I'm not at work, like playing on the Xbox and doing whatever else, I literally excuse me, I just don't know what I'd be doing right now. I really, really wouldn't. So it's something to really, really give you focus, and it has. It's given me so much focus, and it's a great thing mentally. It's literally life changing, and it's something that can also provide an outlet for things like OCD. And I say that because, like I kind of hit upon before about editing, it can take hours and hours and hours. It takes me sometimes 8 to 10 hours to literally do the rough cuts on a video, where it's like I'm cutting out the silences, I'm getting rid of the stuff that I didn't mean to say, and things that maybe that didn't make sense, that doesn't make sense now, which I thought it did earlier. And to actually just get everything together, that can take 8 to 10 hours sometimes for something that will turn out to be a 5 to 10 minute video. Forgetting about stuff like scripting, things like putting the B-roll together. So the B-roll meaning, so if I'm just literally on the video like this talking to you now, and then I don't know, a picture of a beach or something comes along in front, like, comes on in front of me, that is B-roll. And special effects and things, that takes even longer on the video. So it can actually take a day or two, really, you know if you're not going to do absolutely from the minute that you're going to be waking up to the second that you go to sleep. If you're going to dedicate all of that time, maybe you can get it done in a day. But really, you want to start separating the time, budgeting your time. I forget the actual word I'm trying to go for here, and manage your time, because there are other things in life. Yes, it's something that, yeah, I want to get monetized, and yet the partner program isn't necessarily the only thing that's going to do it for you. There are other things like startup a merch store. If you actually go to the link in the description, I with Spreadshop actually started putting stuff on t-shirts and selling them, and it's something where I just do the design. I send it up to them, and they literally do everything else, and then I just watch the money come in. It's going to take a while for that to start up. There's things like in your videos, you can do like product reviews, put the link to it in the description. So you've got an affiliate program with someone like Amazon. And if your goal is to actually start to make money, that's one of the way to do it. But anyway, I digress here. What I was trying to say was people with OCD, I don't know, it could make it worse, who knows. The editing process is that you have to be that meticulous about it, and it takes absolutely forever to do. It's something that it focuses you, and if you need that distraction from anything else, like you're dealing with, I don't know, a bad job, bad relationship, or anything else, it can take your mind off that. And stuff like, I don't know, off the top of my head here, ADHD, maybe. I mean, to a point, I've got that. So with livestream, it can be something where it provides an outlet, and it can let you get your train of thought out, and maybe some of the stuff that you come out with will help others, or maybe it might even just provide a cheap laugh. I mean, anything can happen, and it's something you have to own. And yeah, YouTube has a lot of different applications for the people creating the content. Okay, it's a business, yes, and it is supposed to be, let's help the consumer here, let's help the viewer and all that kind of stuff. Does this video have value to the viewer? But it also needs to have value for the actual creator making the content. Because if you're not happy doing it, if all that's happening is that you just stress, and I'm not going to lie, I mean, I've been doing this for a year now. It's actually the 1 year anniversary. It was actually about a week ago. Um, I've been doing this a year now, and I haven't even hit 100 subscribers yet, but I'm going to keep plowing on because it's something I absolutely love. One of the reasons I started a second channel, because I love doing this stuff. I really, really do. But if you find that it isn't, and it's something that's never really going to make you happy, then it's something that you really need to seriously think about. Now, yeah, as I said, I'm in a situation where I've actually started a second channel, and there were different things. So it's a different niche. It's about my pet rabbit and all the stuff that I've learned and helping people with that. And I'm passionate about that. And it's something that I genuinely believe I can bring value to other people, because I like to think about it like this. I have something in my brain, um, hopefully not a tumor or anything. I have something in my brain that I can translate into video and then that I can share with the world, and it might, not saying it definitely will, there's always that chance, but it might help someone who doesn't have that same information in their in this. They don't have the same information in their brain as I do in mine. And if I hold that information back for any reason that could have helped others, I feel that's selfish. And that's not a jab at anyone else or even myself. It's just what I see as a fact. If you have the means, and don't get me wrong, if you don't have self confidence or anything, then it's fine. You have your reasons. Great. But this is the mindset for me. It could work for you. I'm not saying it will. And everyone has their own way to look at things. But the way I think it is, if I don't get this information I have in here onto the computer and off into YouTube, if I don't get that out there, then it's a missed opportunity for someone to learn something which they could have but didn't, because I didn't make that video. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm a expert. I'm not an expert on mental health. I'm not an expert on bringing up rabbits. I've just basically, I'm giving the benefit of my experiences. At some point I have a one up on someone else, and I'm giving that one up to them. And yeah, my personal goal is to make this full time. I want to basically make this my full time job. I want this to be my business. I want to be the boss. And but as long as I keep my mindset and keep reminding myself of what I'm doing, everything else is going to fall in place. So if I just keep reminding myself, write it on the wall for God's sake. I've actually got something behind the camera right now that's just saying to me, read from the damn script. Because yeah, I digress. I've actually digressed about 10 times from, you know, Comix Division leaving the stream. So, yeah, just keep saying to yourself, this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it, and then it'll come. So my point is, if you're having issues where your YouTube channel is causing you mental health and well-being issues, ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? Again, write it down, stick it on a wall. Why am I doing this? Because, yeah, it's the same deal with losing sight of things and your motivation with anything in your life. You've got to remind yourself why you're doing the things that you're doing. It doesn't necessarily need to be a mental health channel. It could be anything. Riding a damn bike, why are you doing it? Because I want to get good at riding the bike. I don't want to have to keep walking to work all the time. I want to ride a bike. So go with the end in mind. And if you keep asking yourself that, your own heart will give you the answer to that. And it becomes before money, before clicks, before views, before the algorithm and everything else. And once you got the why and the end game in mind, the rest will come. I know I keep repeating myself here, but the more repetition, the more I drill it into my own head and others' heads, I guess. So the other phrase I have to take from Sean Cannell from Think Media, actually, YouTube is very much a marathon and it's not a sprint. So you don't have to go like the rabbit with the rabbit and the tortoise. You just take your time, get it right. It's going to come. You just have to keep consistent. Again, like Comix Division said, keep consistent. Consistency is key, and you will get there. On my notes here, I put YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint. It's good to know. So anyway, if you're having that creator's block and I don't know, you're too tired and you just drained and whatever else, that is okay. Just take the damn break. Just take the week away from it, 2 weeks, whatever you need. If you need time away from doing this, it's better that you're creating amazing content and you're actually feeling good doing it, as opposed to creating content where you're just fighting with your own fatigue. And as far as I know, YouTube isn't going anywhere. Hit like if you're getting value from this video. Not just from me, from Comix as well. And remember, nothing is worth the cost of your mental health and your well-being. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because you know what? And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I know we've probably never met each other, but the sentiment stands. You, champion, you have got this. You've absolutely got this. So whether it takes the next day, the next video, the next month, the next year, the next decade, whatever, if it's something that you genuinely want to do and want to make a success out of, or whatever the reasons you're doing this, keep at it and never, ever, ever, ever stop. Because it's like I always say, at the end of the day, it gets dark.